Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly tech update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and most mind-boggling side of tech available on the interwebs. I am your tech guru, Ray McNeil. Coming up on the program today, if you haven't played yet, you gotta check out Pistol Whip 2089. Their latest update brings some pretty slick synthwave and remixed gameplay that will make you feel like John Wick and Neo from The Matrix, all wrapped into one. A sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. Just sold for another record amount. Happening in this week's What The? These 3D portraits that you see are created from strangers' DNA that was found on the street. And of course, we'll wrap up the program with this week's Moment of Joy. All that and a whole lot more coming up on today's edition of your weekly tech update. Next. Hi everyone. Pistol Whip is a VR rhythm shooter that has made its mark as one of the best and most rated games on the Oculus Quest. Almost 1 year and 1 month after its launch, the game saw a huge update. It was called Pistol Whip 2089. It's a package that includes a slick synthwave soundtrack as a sort of mini campaign that brings subtle but meaningful tweaks and new challenges to the gameplay. Launched first on the PC and Quest, the free Pistol Whip 2089 update is now also available on the PlayStation VR. Since its release last year, Pistol Whip has seen regular updates bringing new songs and scenes to the game. From its initial 10 tracks, 5 additional tracks were added in the Reloaded series, and another 3 in the Heartbreaker update. The Pistol Whip 2089 update, available on the Quest, Oculus PC, Steam, and PSVR, drops 5 additional levels, bringing the game's total count to 23. But 2089 is more than just 5 new songs. This time around, they're presented as a cohesive narrative that plays out from one track to the next. A concept album, if you will. Further still, 2089 brings remixed gameplay that hits the mark by mixing things up without straying far from the game's signature gameplay. 2089 drops you in a series of cyberpunk-themed scenes interlinked with short graphic novel-style cutscenes with great art and well-voiced dialogue from the character that you inhabit. There's no crazy deep story here, but having an underlying narrative to tie everything together sets the stage for the new environments and enemies that you'll encounter. The core of Pistol Whip is still very much intact in 2089. You'll still find yourself continuously running along a straight path while dodging bullets and returning fire at enemies that appear mostly on the sidelines. You really feel like you're Neo from The Matrix. But partway through 2089, you'll find a new weapon, a futuristic pistol with 4-round bursts. That changes the way you play. When you pull the trigger, the 2089 pistol will automatically shoot as many of its 4 bullets as necessary into your target. That means that you can pull the trigger on the 2-hit enemies, and the gun will automatically fire just 2 bullets to dispatch them. But beyond that, you can string 1 burst between multiple enemies, allowing you to take down rows of 4 one-hit enemies with the swing of your gun across them. While Pistol Whip's prior dual-wielding mode made you feel like John Wick, 2089 brings Wanted vibes, thanks to the way that you swing your gun across enemies. 2089 also delivers a fun and challenging climax, which is unlike anything seen previously in the game, and feels like a satisfying end to the chapter. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but let's just say you'll be glad you've got that extra firepower. The update is a free update if you already own the original game Pistol Whip. Developer Cloudhead Games has set a high bar for itself with 2089 and shown that it's willing to take Pistol Whip's gameplay in new directions. I can't help but wonder what we're going to see next. E-bikes can be cumbersome compared to their exclusively human-powered counterparts, and that can be a pain when you're navigating around the city. Specialized might just make them more viable. It's launching the Como SL. It's a super light version of the Como that promises to make urban commuting easier. It's about 8.8 pounds lighter than the regular model and roughly 40% lighter than a typical e-bike. I wouldn't call its 47-pound starting weight modest, but it should be more maneuverable on city streets. It should be more powerful too. The SL 1.1 system reportedly doubles your cycling effort. And while the 62 miles of standard range doesn't compare as well to the regular Como's 80 miles, you can boost it to 93 miles with a range extender. The Como SL is also supposed to be a comparably low-maintenance e-bike with an optional belt drive, an internal gear hub, and integrated cables. In theory, the biggest challenge should be waiting the 2 hours and 35 minutes that it's going to take to charge from 3% to full. With the onboard storage, the bike is able to carry up to 77 pounds of cargo as well. You can order the Como SL right now. The base 4.0 model starts at $4,000 with a KMC chain, custom alloy chain rings, a Shimano cassette, and 5-speed shifter. Now spring for the $4,800 5.0 version, and you'll get a Gates carbon drive belt, matching Gates chain rings, and cassette parts and 8-speed shifting. Neither model is cheap, but it might be worth the outlay, at least for the 5.0 model, if you're regularly traveling across town and can't stand the weight of those other e-bikes. Microsoft's Aaron Greenberg promised official Xbox Series X mini fridges if the company won a Twitter brand competition, and he's apparently being true to his word. Greenberg told followers that Microsoft would move forward with plans for the Series X fridges. He didn't offer pricing or availability or even a glimpse at the fridges, but it's safe to presume they'll be easier to accommodate at home than the full-size fridges Microsoft made to capitalize on internet memes. The first fridge will go to Twitter rival Skittles. And in case you're wondering, no, apparently this is not a belated April Fool's joke. It's easy to see why Microsoft would do this, though. It's an attention-grabbing move that could help draw some console buyers away from the PlayStation 5. Still, you can't really get your hands on either one of them, can ya? Still, there's not much reason to object. Most gaming peripherals revolve around cosmetic items like clothes and figurines. This gives you something that you can actually use on a daily basis long after you retire your Xbox.